Welcome to episode 100 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of Troy and the story of Priam Visits Achilles. When the participants separated, each man ate and slept. Only Achilles did not sleep, for he spent the night thinking of the friend he had buried. First, he lay on his side. Then he lay on his back, then on his face. Finally, he got up and roamed along the shore. In the early morning, he harnessed his horses, bound Hector's body to his chariot, and dragged him 3 times around the burial mound of Patroclus. But Apollo held his golden aegis over the corpse and saved it from being disfigured. Achilles left it sprawled on its face in the dust. All the gods on Olympus, except Hera, grieved at the sight, and Zeus sent for Thetis, the mother of Achilles. He ordered her to go to the Argive camp with all possible speed and tell her son that all the gods, even Zeus himself, were consumed with anger because he was holding Hector's body without ransom. Thetis obeyed. She entered the house of her son, came close to him, gently caressed his hair, and said, "How long are you going to eat out your heart with sorrow and forget food and sleep? It would be better if you turned to the pleasures of living again, for you will not be on earth for long. Dark fate already lurks at your side. Listen to what Zeus bade me tell you. He and all the gods are indignant that you have maltreated Hector's body and are keeping it by the ships. Let it go, my son. Let it go for a rich ransom." Achilles looked up, fixed his eyes on his mother's face, and answered, "So be it. What Zeus and the council of the immortals have resolved must be done. Whoever brings me the ransom shall carry away the corpse." When Thetis was with her son, Zeus sent fleet-footed Iris, the messenger of the gods, to the city of Priam to announce his decision. When Iris reached Troy, she found nothing but wailing and weeping. In the court of the palace was Priam in the circle of his sons, and their robes were wet with tears. The old man sat stiff and still, wrapped in his mantle. His head and shoulders were strewn with dust. In their chambers, his daughters and wives of his sons loudly lamented the heroes who had been slain. Suddenly, and softly, the messenger of Zeus came up to the king and spoke to him in a low voice. A shudder ran through his limbs. "Contain yourself, son of Dardanus," she said. "Do not despair. I bring you good news. Zeus has mercy upon you. He bids you go to Achilles, bearing rich gifts with which to ransom the corpse of your son. You shall go alone, accompanied by no one except one of the older heralds, to guide the wagon with the mules and bring the body back to the city. You need not fear death or dangers of any kind, for Zeus is giving you an escort. Hermes will take you to the son of Peleus and protect you while you are with him. Besides, Achilles is not so blind as to disobey the gods. He will spare the suppliant of his own accord and keep all harm from you." Priam had faith in the words of the goddess. He told his sons to yoke the mules to the wagon, while he went to the chamber paneled with fragrant cedar wood, where he kept his treasures. He summoned Hecuba there and said to her, "Zeus sent me a message. I am to go to Achilles to his house near the ships, propitiate him with gifts, and so ransom the body of Hector, our beloved son. What do you think of this? I myself am most eager to go to the ships." So said the old man. But his wife sobbed and replied, "Alas, Priam, where is your good sense? For which you have been famed, you, an old man, go alone to the Argive ships and meet the foe who has killed so many of your brave sons? Do you think that false, bloodthirsty wretch will feel pity at your sight? Rather let us mourn from afar for our son who, from the hour of his birth, was destined to be killed and devoured by dogs." "Do not hinder me," Priam said resolutely. "Do not be a bird of ill omen in my house. Though death may await me at the ships, let that madman kill me, if only I can carry the body of Hector in my arms and ease my heart with tears." Then he raised the lids of the chest and selected 12 sumptuous vestal robes and a like number of tunics and costly mantles. After this he weighed out 10 talents of gold and took 4 gleaming cauldrons and 2 tripods. And he added a priceless cup the Thracians had given when he came to them as an envoy. Nothing was too much to ransom his cherished son. He drove away the Trojans who wanted to hold him back and said threateningly, "You good-for-nothings! Have you no grief at home that you come here to add to my sorrow? Is it not enough that Zeus has taken my son from me? You will soon find out what it means. Rather would I go to Hades than see the heap of ruins and ashes your city will become." And he drove them out of the hall with his scepter. Then he turned to his sons. "Cowards," he said. "Idlers, if only you lay by the ships in Hector's stead. All the best and bravest are dead. What is left is the scum, the liars, the cheats, the dancers who wallow in the fat of the land. Now, this very instant, you shall make ready a wagon and lay all these things in baskets so I can start on my way." The sons were taken aback and afraid of their father's anger. They yoked the mules to the wagon and loaded it with the ransom. Then they harnessed the well-groomed, glossy horses to Priam's chariot and called the herald who was to go with him. With heavy heart, Hecuba handed the king the golden cup for libation. A slave approached with a basin and pitcher, and when Priam had bathed his hands in clean water, he took the cup, stood in the center of the court, poured the wine, and raised his voice in prayer to Zeus. "Father Zeus," he implored, "ruler of Ida, let the son of Peleus show mercy and grace to me. Give me a token, let a bird fly on my right, so that I may go to the Argive ships without fear." He had barely finished speaking when an eagle with black wings, spread wide, soared over the city, flying from the right. The Trojans hailed the sign joyfully, and full of confidence, the old man mounted the chariot. In front of him were the 4-wheeled wagon heavily loaded, drawn by mules, which Idaeus the herald drove. As Priam touched his horses with the goad, and they began to move, his people followed him with troubled eyes, and wailed as though he were going to his death. When Priam and his herald were outside the city and passing the monument of the old king Ilus, they stopped to let the horses and mules drink at the river. It was evening, and twilight hung over the plain. Then Idaeus saw a man standing close by and warned Priam. "Look, master," he said, "we must be cautious. See the man over there? I fear he is waiting to kill us. We have no arms, and both of us are old. Let us either turn and flee back into the city, or clasp his knees and beg him to spare us." The king shook with terror, and his hair stood up on his head. And now the man approached. It was not a foe, but Hermes, the messenger of Zeus, the bringer of help to men, whom the father of the gods sent to accompany chosen mortals on their way. Priam did not recognize him, but the god took the old man's hand and said, "Why are you driving your horses and mules at dead of night when other mortals sleep? Are you not afraid of the angry Argives? If one of them saw you taking so many precious wares through the darkness, would it not be dangerous for you? Do not think for an instant, though, that I shall harm you. Quite the contrary. I shall protect you from others. All the more because you are so very like my very own dear father. But tell me, are you fleeing and taking all these choice things to an alien land? Perhaps you are leaving Troy, now that the city has lost the bravest of its defenders, Hector, whom no Argive surpassed in courage." Priam breathed more freely and answered, "Now I see that I must be under the protection of a god, for he has sent me a wise and gentle companion who speaks tenderly of the death of my son. Tell me who you are and in the name of your parents." "Polyctor is my name," Hermes replied. "I am the youngest of 7 sons, a Myrmidon, a comrade of Achilles. That is how I happened to see your son driving the Argives back to their ships while we stood by our angry king and admired Hector from afar." "If you are a comrade of dread Achilles," said Priam, full of anxiety, Then tell me if my son lies by the ships, or whether the son of Peleus has already hacked him to pieces and thrown him to the dogs." "He has not," said Hermes. "Hector still lies in the house of Achilles, and no decay has touched his flesh, though this is the 12th morning, and though the son of Peleus drags him around the grave of his friend at every dawn. You would be amazed if you saw him, for his body looks as fresh as if he were alive. All his wounds are closed, and there is not a blood stain on him. Even in his death, the gods cherish and tend him." Joyfully, Priam reached for the priceless cup, which he had in the chariot. "Take it," he said. "In return, give me your protection and take me to your master's house." Hermes refused the cup, as though he hesitated to accept gifts without the knowledge of Achilles. But he mounted the chariot beside Priam, took reins and goad, and soon they reached the trench and the wall. The guards who were just having their evening meal, but the god lifted his hand, and they sank into deep sleep. A mere touch of his fingers, and the bolt